One day, the four Pandavas, Arjuna, Bhima, Nakula, and Sahadeva, gathered around Krishna with curious expressions. Yudhishthir was away, leaving them eager to ask questions without the restraint of their elder brother. Arjuna was the first to speak. "Krishna," he asked, "we've heard so much about the age of Kali Yuga, but what exactly is it?" Krishna looked at them with a knowing smile. "Ah, Kali Yuga, a time unlike any other, but words won't do it justice. Instead, I'll show you." He raised his hand, summoning a bow and 4 golden arrows. The Pandavas looked on with fascination as Krishna notched each arrow, aiming in 4 different directions. With a powerful release, he let the arrows fly across the sky, each one disappearing into a different part of the landscape. "Each of you," he said, "follow an arrow and bring it back to me, but pay close attention to what you see along the way, for Kali Yuga will reveal itself to you." The 4 Pandavas nodded, setting off in their respective directions, eager yet cautious. Arjuna's path led him through a lush forest. After a short while, he spotted his arrow, lodged near a tall tree. Just as he reached for it, he heard an enchanting melody. Turning around, he saw a cuckoo perched on a branch, singing a song so sweet that it made the forest seem almost magical. But as he stepped closer, Arjuna's expression turned to one of horror. The cuckoo, with its melodious voice, was tearing into the flesh of a live rabbit, its beak stained red as it devoured the helpless creature's flesh. The rabbit struggled, writhing in pain, its soft cries drowned out by the cuckoo's beautiful yet haunting song. Disturbed, Arjuna took the arrow and hurried away, the image burned into his mind. Bhima's journey brought him to a clearing with 5 wells. 4 of these wells surrounded a central one. The 4 outer wells were overflowing, the water so plentiful that it spilled over the sides, glistening in the sunlight. But when Bhima looked at the well in the middle, he was surprised to find it completely dry. Puzzled, he retrieved his arrow and returned, the image of the empty well lingering in his mind. Nakula's arrow had fallen near a small farmhouse, where he found himself watching a curious scene unfold. A cow was giving birth, and as soon as the calf emerged, the cow began licking it clean with affection. Nakula smiled at the tender sight, but as he watched, his smile faded. Even after the calf was cleaned, the cow continued to lick it, rougher and more insistently, as if she couldn't stop. The calf began to whimper, its skin scraped raw from the cow's persistent tongue. Villagers rushed to separate them, finally pulling the calf away. Nakula stared, troubled by the mother's excessive love, which had unintentionally caused her newborn harm. He picked up his arrow and walked back, unsettled. Sahadeva found his arrow at the base of a mountain. As he retrieved it, he heard a loud rumble above. Looking up, he saw a massive boulder dislodging from the mountain and hurtling downward, crushing rocks and trees in its path. But as Sahadeva watched in awe, the boulder's descent was suddenly halted, not by another large rock or tree, but by a small, fragile plant growing from a crevice. Somehow, this delicate plant absorbed the impact, stopping the boulder in its tracks. Amazed, Sahadeva stood in silence for a moment. When all 4 Pandavas returned to Krishna, each shared their strange encounters, confusion etched on their faces. Krishna listened, nodding as they spoke. Finally, he looked at them with gentle wisdom in his eyes. "What you have seen," he said, "are glimpses of Kali Yuga." The Pandavas looked at each other, unsure of what he meant. Krishna began explaining, "In Kali Yuga, Arjuna, those who speak beautifully and possess great knowledge, like the cuckoo, will hide selfishness and cruelty within. They will exploit the innocent, just as the cuckoo preyed on the rabbit." Arjuna nodded, understanding dawning on him. "Bhima," Krishna continued, "the rich will amass wealth beyond measure, yet refuse to share even a single penny with the poor. The 4 wells, full of water, left the central well parched, just as the rich will ignore the poor." "Nakula," Krishna said gently, "in Kali Yuga, parents will love their children excessively, but their overprotectiveness will stifle and spoil them, harming their growth. The cow's endless licking of her calf is a reflection of this. And Sahadeva," Krishna concluded, "people's morals and character will fall, just as the boulder fell from the mountain. But even in the darkest times, a small spark of faith, like the delicate plant, will be enough to halt their descent. Only devotion to God will save them from complete ruin." Creating stories like these takes hard work and resources. If you want to see more, please show your support by commenting, liking, and subscribing.